Fifth graders, I'm Mrs. Shea, and I'm going to be doing your trumpet lessons this semester. Hopefully all of you already have your trumpets and your essential elements book and are ready to go. And so to start with, I just want to go over some assembly type things. First of all, everybody's case is going to look different because everybody isn't going to have the same brand of trumpet. But on most of the cases, and I'll show you mine, there's going to be a label of what brand it is. And so that label is always going to face up. So then you will open your case and your instrument won't fall out. Okay? I always recommend putting it on the floor or another hard surface that it's not going to fall off of. When you have it in your lap, and you'll find this when we're all in person again, somebody would walk by and bump your case, your trumpet would fly everywhere, probably get damaged and have to go into the shop. And we just don't want anything like that. So I recommend case on the floor, next to you if you're sitting in a chair, or if you're assembling it on your bed or a table, on the bed or the table. Okay, let's go over parts. You're lucky, you don't have many parts. You have your mouthpiece, and you have the body of your trumpet. On your trumpet, these are called the valves, and they're numbered in order closest to your face. So if you were playing your trumpet, 1, 2, 3. 3 is farthest away from me. Sometimes you'll see in some fingering charts, they'll do it by numbers. Sometimes they'll do it with circles, and which ones get depressed and which ones don't. So if you ever are asked or told numbers, 1 is closest to your face, 2 is in the middle, 3 is away. Okay, you have your bell of your trumpet. These are your water valves. When condensation builds up inside your instrument, we empty that out, and we'll go over that in a different lesson. You have the ring, tuning slides, which we don't need to be concerned with right now, and the end that the mouthpiece goes in. So when you put your mouthpiece in, you just simply slide it in, give it just a little bit of a twist, and then you'll see that it will not fall out, okay? If we don't get it in far enough and we don't give it that little twist, it could fall out, so I just give it a little bit of a twist and then it's in. One thing we never want to do is hit your mouthpiece in this way. That's gonna cause it to get stuck, that's gonna mean a trip to the shop, that's gonna put us behind, okay? A lot of people like to do it. It makes a fun noise, okay? But it does cause pressure that gets that mouthpiece stuck. So all we need to do is put it in, give it a simple twist. Okay, I'm going to take my mouthpiece back out, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the valves. I'm not sure when you got your trumpet, if the shop has already oiled your valves or not. The valves take oil to make them move smoothly. My valves are well used, so they move really well. Yours might be newer if you have a newer trumpet. When we go to oil the valves, you'll have in your case or your care kit some valve oil. Okay, I'm going to open mine up. It doesn't take a lot, just a couple of drops on each one. You will unscrew the cap at the top and just pull your valve up. I recommend not taking them all the way out. If the valves would get mixed up, your trumpet will not work. They are numbered. If you look really closely, there'll be a little number 1 on this one, but I recommend, there's no need to really take them all the way out. I'm gonna put it closer to the camera. You'll see in here is a spring. That's going to help your valve move up and down. And then the valve has all these little holes. Now that's the part where we're just gonna put a couple of drops of oil on there. 1, 2 drops. I'm gonna slide it back in, okay? I can't just tighten the cap from here. It has to be locked in place. So I'm just gonna keep turning it, and you're gonna listen for a click. I don't know if you heard it, but there was a little click there, and now I can't turn it anymore. That ensures that it is in the correct place. And then I can tighten up my cap at the top. These caps at the top, some of them, especially if you have a Yamaha trumpet, can be a little bit tricky. You gotta get it lined up exactly right and then twist it down. Then I'm just gonna depress the valve, get that oil moved around, and I would go on to my second and third valve. Now would be a good time to pause your video and get your trumpet and get your valves and make sure that they are oiled. Okay, let's talk about making a sound now. I'm gonna have just my mouthpiece, and let's talk about placement. You're gonna make sure you place it in the center of your mouth, equally on both your top lip and your bottom lip, right in the center. And when we go to play, we talked a little bit in our introductory videos about embouchure. Embouchure is how you hold your mouth, okay? For trumpet, it's a very basic, normal set for your mouth. Your lips are together, like you're saying the letter M. And you'll notice that my corners of my mouth are pulled back a little bit when I say M. And I actually have dimples, and you can see those. If you all have dimples in your face, you might see those when you say M. Okay? And that is basically the normal set for your face. One thing we don't want, air in the cheeks. Sometimes you'll see people go like that. Air in the cheeks for any instrument is bad. We want to make sure our face muscles are tight. I tell everybody usually your cheeks and your teeth in there should be touching. Almost to where you could bite your cheeks, okay? Cheeks are tight against the face. Now, to set our mouth correctly, we think of 3 letters: I, M, and P, which we've already talked about the M part, right? That's how we place our mouth. When you say I, you should notice your throat and the back of your mouth opens up. That's gonna allow all of your air to come out and come out at a good pace and enough air to get a sound going, okay? We want everything to be open. When you're practicing, you're gonna make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall or standing so that your diaphragm can move and help that air come out at a good pace. Okay, so I said I to open up my throat, M to place my lips correctly. The P happens because when you say the letter P, you'll notice that the air starts coming out and your lips are gonna move a little bit. Your lips vibrating from the air passing over them is what's going to make the sound on your mouthpiece. Unlike clarinet, saxophone, and flute, where you just blow into the instrument, that wouldn't work for you. If I would just blow into my mouthpiece, nothing, right? We have to have that, what we call buzzing sound, to make a sound on your mouthpiece, okay? So again, I'm gonna think I to open up my throat, M puts my lips and mouth in the correct position, and then P is gonna get the air going across my lips to buzz. And you're going to annoy your parents and your family a lot these first weeks when you're buzzing on your mouthpiece. You'll notice, I don't know if you can hear, the click-clack of the toenails of my dogs, because they are not very much fans of the brass instruments. That buzzing sound, I know it's something about their ears, and you might find this if you have pets, that they just don't like that buzzing sound. Some of them don't even like the sound of the instrument. They're just not used to it yet, but once their ears get used to hearing it, it'll get a lot easier. Okay, I'm gonna do that up close so that you can see my facial structure and the fact that I have no air in my cheeks. Oh, see, there's one that even barked. That was Roscoe saying hi. I'm sure you're gonna hear him in a lot of videos. Now would be a good time maybe to pause your video and see if you can do I am and get a sound out of your mouthpiece. So when you tried it, you may not have got the same pitch as I did when I buzzed my mouthpiece. We can adjust the pitch with how fast our airstream is moving, how small our airstream is moving, and how tight or relaxed our lips seem to be. If I want to buzz a lower pitch, I'm gonna be just a bit more relaxed with my buzz, and that might be what some of you are getting right now. Or if I'm a little bit firmer, my air is moving a little quicker through a smaller stream, I'm gonna get a higher buzz. And you're gonna be able to eventually control that. And once you get really good at it, you can make kind of a siren sound going low to high to low. If you can't do that now, not a big deal. It's gonna take some time for you to be able to control your muscles. And speaking of time, although I know it's gonna bother your parents a lot, the majority of your practice these first weeks needs to be just on the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece and what you are doing with your face is going to determine how you play for the rest of your trumpet playing days. Anybody can push buttons on a trumpet. I could probably train my dog to do that. It's what we do with our face and our mouthpiece that's going to ensure that we play correctly and are going to be successful at getting the correct pitches when we need to play. I suggest for these first few weeks, practice in a mirror. Go in the bathroom where there's a nice big mirror. Make sure that you're placing in the center of your face. Make sure when you are buzzing that your cheeks are tight to your face. We don't want any air in the cheek. No, I call them chipmunk cheeks. We don't want any chipmunk cheeks, okay? The majority of these first 2 weeks needs to be on the mouthpiece, okay? Then after a bit, you can put it into your trumpet and get some pitches, but like the majority of your practice needs to be just this. Okay, let's talk about holding. We talked about assembling already. Yours is very easy. Mouthpiece in, give it a twist. Okay, right hand and left hand. Hopefully we all know the difference between our right hands and our left hands. And I'll kind of turn so I'm facing and you can see my left hand. My left hand is the holder of the instrument. It is doing all of the holding, okay? Your right hand controls the valves, controls the button. It's the left hand that does the holding, okay? You will see, we talked about that ring, and I have what is called my ring finger, my fourth finger in the ring. My pinky, he just kind of hangs out here. He can rest along this slide if you want him to. Your second and third fingers are together. right along this third valve, the furthest valve from your face. Your thumb is against the first valve, and you'll notice, hopefully, that only my fingerprint is touching that trumpet. I have a good amount of space between my hand and my trumpet. In fact, if I were to take my hand away and rotate it, it's the letter C. Okay? Sometimes I like to tell kids also to think of, or you can even, holding a small ball, a tennis ball, a pong ball. There should be that much space between your hand and your trumpet. Holding the trumpet is all fingertips, okay? Thumb fingerprint here, second and third fingerprints here, ring fingerprint here. We want to make sure that we have a good amount of space in here. The fingerprints are what is touching the trumpet. Okay, we're going to talk about our right hand. Our right hand, you should have a hook here. Your pinky goes in that hook. Your 3 fingers in the middle of your hand go on top of the valves, on the buttons, and your thumb, we can do one of 2 things. Your thumb, we can either press against this bar here, this lead pipe, we call it, or it can sit down in here on top of your other thumb. And I know that's kind of hard to see. They're kind of next to each other. Fingernail on top of fingernail. Again, you'll notice only my fingerprints are touching. My thumb is the only thing touching here. My fingerprints are touching on the buttons. My fingers are curved, and my fingerprint is in the hook. Again, if I take my hand away, guess what shape it makes? C. Very easy for you to remember, isn't it? And again, there should be a lot of space in here. I should be able to have a tennis ball inside my hand because only my fingerprints are touching the valves. When you depress the valves, it's extremely important that they go straight down. If your fingers are curved and your fingerprints are on top of the valve, that ensures that valve goes down straight. If I have flat fingers or I'm pressing with a different part of my finger, a lot of times the valve will go down crooked and it will get stuck, okay? And we don't want that. So you have to think curved fingers, fingerprints only on the buttons, on the valves. Okay, hopefully you've had time to assemble. Now would be a good time to pause the video and see about holding your instrument correctly. Left hand is the holder, right hand moves the valves. Think letter C in both hands. Okay, so now let's talk pitch production on the trumpet. We did just on the mouthpiece where it kind of just sounded like a weird sound. Once you put that mouthpiece in and you buzz, now we're going to start to get real notes, real pitches. You're going to find when you buzz it first, one of 2 different sounds will come out. You will either have a lower sounding sound or a higher sounding pitch. I'll demonstrate. If I buzz without depressing any valves, and I'm a little bit more relaxed, which your mouth might be to be starting with, I'm going to get a lower sounding pitch. Did you notice cheeks tight against my face? No air in my cheeks? I'm not changing how I did anything with just the mouthpiece when I put that trumpet up to my face. You'll notice that the trumpet is out straight from my face. Okay, you should be looking at the top of your bell. Okay, not down here, not up here, straight out, parallel to the ground. If you've learned about parallel, If your face is a little bit firmer and your air is moving a bit faster, you may get a higher pitch that would sound like this. Both are correct. It's just what your face is wanting to do right now. Is your face wanting to do a lower pitch or a higher pitch? Try that and see which pitch comes out for you. Once you get really good at it, you'll be able to go back and forth between the higher and the lower pitch. Remember, the lower pitch is a little bit more relaxed of a face, a little bit more relaxed air. The higher pitch is a little bit firmer face, a little bit, I say, a little bit of a tighter smile, pulling those corners back, with a little faster, smaller airstream. That was me going back and forth between the two. Okay, and eventually you'll be able to do that too. Not to worry if you can't do that now, we are just starting. We got a long ways to go. For this week, like I said before, the majority of your time needs to be on the mouthpiece. I recommend at this beginning time, 10 to 15 minutes of practice a day. For the brass instruments, you are training your muscles with what to do. So it is more about a daily practice than a long practice. 60 minutes in one day is not going to do you any good. 10 to 15 minutes every day, or at least 5 days, like the days of the week maybe, and relax on the weekends, is going to get these muscles trained the way they need to be to play the trumpet. So, majority of time, mouthpiece in the mirror, okay? Once you feel really good about how your buzz is sounding, go ahead and put that mouthpiece in and buzz some pitches without depressing valves. Oh, there's another dog. Without depressing the valves, just getting those open pitches. Do you get the lower pitch or do you get the higher pitch? I look forward to seeing how you progress this first week in your Flipgrid videos.